Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you also for your witnesses, and thank you for your service to the country. You are, like alluded to, you are the unsung heroes. You're the guys who don't get the medals, the ribbons, but we appreciate all the things that you do and your troops do. So thank you very much for that. My quick question is, Admiral, sir, could you please tell me what keeps you up at night? What is your, where do you see what is the main threat to your ability to do your job?
Sir, you know, as you know, right now we don't have any imminent threat in the maritime domain. And being the new guy on the block, I'm still learning quite a bit about what the intelligence community for the Coast Guard, the intelligence enterprise, is working on. But I think my biggest concern is twofold. One, it's the safeguarding of the Coast Guard personnel themselves. How do we provide the right force protection for those folks and the right intelligence support for that force protection? And then the next piece would be those transnational threats, whether they be criminal or terrorist organizations, and how they're trying to get into the country and attack the American people. So not having a specific threat right now, it's really trying to identify, working with the colleagues here in DHS, but across the intelligence community, to identify how they're coming into the country and then how to stop that.
Thank you, Admiral. And I do feel your pain when it comes to being the new guy on the block. So, Mr. Johnson, according to TSA, you've kind of alluded to it in your opening testimony. Can you kind of expound upon that a little bit?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we had that closed-door session with you prior a couple months ago, and it continues to be AQAP and threats to aviation, followed closely by mass transit and different threats that are out there that are being espoused from a global threat perspective and providing a regional focus into the United States.
Thank you. And Mr. Chaparro, could you kind of allude to it also as well?
The short answer is my BlackBerry keeps me up at night. But all kidding aside, ICE has a very wide breadth of things that we cover, and it's the violence from drug cartels, it's the pedophiles, it's the transnational criminal organizations that we investigate, it's the threats in the cyber world. And so I think there's many things that we have to focus on in order to make sure that our citizens are safe. And to be honest, I wish it were only terrorism, but it's that and unfortunately much more.
Thank you for that, and thank you for being by your BlackBerry. So, Ms. Mitchell, could you expound as well?
Sure, thanks. I think for CBP, the biggest thing that we're concerned with is kind of the unknowns. That we believe we have a good handle on identifying those that we know are bad, but to ensure that our systems also have that predictive modeling capability that allows us to pick up on those travel patterns that should be of concern, kind of pick it up on the clean skins. Also, the impact of global security, that we are partnering with a lot of the foreign governments to ensure that they're picking up on that same thought process for targeting as we have here.
Have you found the international community to be assisting you on that quite a bit, or is it more of a challenge?
I think as they're finding that they themselves are targets as well, and we can show some success stories in our targeting methodology, they are becoming much more willing partners.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Wagner?
I think listening to what everyone else has said, I think the one thing that keeps me up the night the most is having there be an attack on the homeland and discovering that we had data in the department that was relevant to it. And that's why I focus so much of my efforts on trying to make sure that we have the procedures in place to make sure that we are tapping every piece of information that we have, so that I hope never to be in that position.
I hope you never are as well, ma'am. Could you, 2 years ago, Secretary Napolitano asked the INA to coordinate with the DHS in interaction with state and local fusion centers, where a lot of the genesis comes from on the ground, boots on the ground level. I'm from Minnesota, and because of an alert pilot that was giving instruction to a guy who wanted to take off in a 747, not know how to land, just wanted to be able to fly the plane. That's how some critical information could have flowed up the chain of command. Would you just kind of please update us on that progress?
I think we've made a great deal of progress in the last few years in building a network of national fusion centers that share information both upwards with the national intelligence and law enforcement communities and sideways with each other, which is a really important regional aspect of this. And what we are trying to do, both in INA, but INA basically is leading the efforts of the department that includes all of the component participation, is to provide information, training, anything that we can do to help the fusion centers achieve a level of ability to analyze their own information, report on it, and understand what information is valuable to others so that it can be effectively shared. We have IOs, intelligence officers, out at all the fusion centers. There is also component representation at many of them. We provide training courses in writing, reporting, protecting civil rights and civil liberties, and I think that we are seeing from most of the fusion centers improved levels of situational awareness and products coming out of them. We've got a great interchange with them on a daily basis. We're focusing on implementing with the Department of Justice the National Suspicious Activity Reporting Initiative, and the fusion centers are a key element of that. The Secretary has also been, as I'm sure you're aware, out promoting the See Something, Say Something campaign, and that's a way for us and the fusion centers then to leverage the American public to be on the lookout for information behaviors that might potentially allow us to detect and disrupt activities. So between the See Something, Say Something campaign, the National Suspicious Activity Reporting Initiative that is feeding both us and the FBI's eGuardian system, and just the constant interaction that we have, I think we are in a very good position to use those guys as the first line of defense in detecting and deterring homegrown violent extremism.
Thank you very much, ma'am. And I'm over my time, sir. I apologize, and I'll yield back.